Jeremy.
I'm Harrison.
And you've stumbled into the Revue.
Can you turn that down, please?
What's wrong, Harrison? You look a little confused.
Of course I'm confused. You just showed me 2001.
What's to be confused about?
What was the deal with the monkeys? I don't get it.
Well, they were apes, but don't worry about that. That was the dawn of man, back when human beings were still hairy vegetarians, foraging for food in the desert wasteland.
So, Los Angeles?
Well, more specifically, Venice Beach. I think one of them was dating Lindsay Lohan.
Can't they move to Kansas or something? I mean, there's Taco Bell there.
No, they're pretty much stuck. It's about 4 million years before the invention of the Greyhound bus. If you've ever ridden a Greyhound bus, you know the crowd's pretty much the same. So until that miracle of transportation shows up, these apes will have to deal with what they have here. You know, just kind of chill out, hang with friends.
You mean like the leopard that killed one of them?
Well,
Or the other group of apes that runs them off from the only source of water for 100 miles.
Okay, living here pretty much sucks. It's really hard to find food. Hey look, it's the new iPhone. They could call and order pizza. Problem solved.
He's out in the desert. He'll never get coverage.
Yeah, AT&T can be really frustrating.
Yeah, look, he's taking it out on that pile of bones.
Actually, the iPhone, or the monolith, awakened something in the apes.
Yeah, it was a real treat watching them sleep for 5 minutes.
No, an evolutionary awakening. After their encounter with the monolith, the apes began to stand upright, use tools to hunt and survive,
and kill other apes. Great message for the kids, Dad.
It's rated G.
This is making me tired. Can we move on?
Move on? How does 4 million years sound?
Sounds like the first hour of this movie.
I'll go through this next part quickly. We meet up with Dr. Haywood Floyd on a trip to the moon. When he gets to the moon base, he holds a secret meeting. You know, like a pep talk.
Every time you get up, make it your goal to give much more than anybody would expect to receive from you.
Look at those teeth. That was 2001, not Alien.
Okay, it wasn't that exciting. It was more like going to a funeral where you didn't know the deceased, and nobody really liked him anyway. I give you an example, but Paris Hilton isn't dead yet.
So what's this big secret that Dr. Floyd is talking about, but then again, not talking about?
They found a second monolith deliberately buried on the moon.
Who would bury that thing on the moon?
Well, I think it's... God, what is that?
The emergency broadcast system.
Oh, well, that's just great. Every time you want to watch a movie, the PBS comes over the monolith.
Whoa, watch
Son
the
of a...
language. It's in the movie. It's just sending a signal to Jupiter.
Anyway, 18 months later, we catch up with the crew of the Discovery on their way to Jupiter. Manned by astronauts Dave Bowman and Frank Poole, with 3 scientists in hibernation.
Hibernation? You mean like bears?
Kind of like that, except hopefully they didn't build up that layer of fat. Kind of hard to squeeze into that sarcophagus. Here we also see what it's like to be on an extended deep space flight.
Now that looks like fun, with the running...
Eating.
Running...
Watching yourself on TV.
Running...
Tanning.
Running...
Sketching.
Running...
Lame birthday parties.
How do you like your cake, dear?
Looks great, doesn't it? Sorry you can't join us.
And don't forget running.
There's also playing chess with an opponent who's impossible to beat. That would be the HAL 9000, the most advanced computer ever built.
Is HAL Mac or PC?
Mac, of course.
This is the part where it finally starts to get good. Hal tells Dave that the main communication dish...
It's going to go 100% failure within 72 hours.
So he goes to replace it.
I'm with Dave on the DIY. Have you ever had to wait for the DirecTV guy to show up?
Dad, we get Time Warner.
Even worse. So they pull the bad unit and there is nothing wrong with it.
Well, hell, I'm damned if I can find anything wrong with it.
Yes. It's puzzling.
They ask Hal why, and he attributes it
to human error.
Oh, sure. Blame the humans. We get blamed for everything. World War II, melting ice caps, the Kardashians.
Whoa, Ryan Seacrest is on his own on that one. I had nothing to do with it. So Frank and Dave have a little confab in one of the pods about pulling the plug on Hal.
And look at that. Hal can read lips. Uh-oh.
So when Frank goes to replace the unit, Hal whacks him like Tony Soprano on a mob informant, sending him tumbling out into space to die.
So when Dave goes after Frank, Hal shuts down the life support on the 3 scientists.
I take back what I said before. Hal's got to be running Windows ME.
I don't know what that is.
Trust me, it's best you don't. When Dave gets back to the ship, he gets a rude awakening from Hal.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Hal won't let Dave back in the ship. That reminds me. Remember that time you locked yourself out of the house?
I thought we weren't going to talk about that again. So Dave decides to go in through the emergency airlock.
Yeah, like the time you had to go through the window to get your keys.
Dave left without his space helmet, so he has to blast his way into the emergency airlock, and now it's on! Human versus computer deathmatch! Oh yeah, Dave's gonna take it to Hal and lay the smack down.
With a screwdriver? Brutal.
It was a Phillips head.
So as Dave is pulling his brain out, Hal starts singing a song called Daisy? It's a real toe tapper.
I'd have chosen something a little more modern.
I'd like to hear it, Hal. Sing it for me.
Play that funky music, white boy. Lay down the boogie and play that funky music till you die.
I guess Lady Gaga wasn't making records yet.
Either way, the groove was interrupted by a message from Dr. Floyd telling Dave the whole story that up until now, only Hal knew.
That's why he went crazy?
Pretty much. Turns out Hal is about as neurotic as Jesse Eisenberg on prom night. Now that he's near Jupiter, Dave tries to finish the mission himself and finds another monolith.
Except this one is bigger and opens a portal through time and space. Now this is cool.
I know, and it made a lot of stoned hippies really happy too back in 1968. Say no to drugs, kids. In the last scene of the movie, Dave arrives.
In a hotel room?
Does anything seem weird at this point?
No, I guess not. Considering that Dave starts rapidly aging over the next 5 minutes.
So before Dave ages into nothing, he checks out the swank hotel room he just got dropped in, with the sweet bathroom,
Room service?
a bed worth dying in.
And hey, a flat screen TV! Why is it mounted sideways?
No, that's another monolith. Hey look, Futurama's on.
Another one?
It comes complimentary with the room. The first one is free, but if you want more, you gotta buy the minibar.
That's how they get you!
I know, right?
Wait, I was wrong. It can get weirder.
What's so wrong with turning into a giant man baby?
In this freak show, I guess nothing. Because he goes through the monolith, back to Earth, and just floats there, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So that's it? That's the end?
Uh-huh.
Then what was it all about?
I can't tell you that.
You can't or you won't.
Both.
This is child abuse.
I'm only going by what director Stanley Kubrick said in a 1969 interview. When he was asked about the meaning of the film, he stated, "You're free to speculate as you wish about the philosophical and allegorical meaning of the film. I don't want to spell out a verbal roadmap for 2001. So if you were to follow my interpretation, for instance...
Wait! I get it now!
Well, now if you...
So, 4 million years ago, an alien intelligence started an experiment on us by sparking our evolution from ape to man.
Well, I mean, if you...
Sort of like if humans were, rats in a maze, and the first cheese was on the moon.
People used to say the moon was made of cheese.
Then around Jupiter, and then in the hotel room.
Maybe it's a Hilton, we could see Paris there.
But instead of cheese, we receive spiritual enlightenment through our existential transformation into the Star Child. It's so simple!
What I was going to say, it was just a great movie for hippies to get stoned and watch in the late 60s.
Oh.
Hey guys, thanks for watching again. We really appreciate it. While the folks are here at the computer, what should they be doing?
Give us some thumbs up.
And what else?
Leave us a comment.
Well, what's the most important thing?
Subscribe!
Absolutely, please subscribe. Because also, if you don't subscribe, you'll miss one of our extras. We're going to put up how we actually feel about the film we just, tore to pieces and really made fun of. And we're going to see if we actually liked it or didn't. So keep a lookout for the extra, and until then, we don't have a catchphrase!